We're very fortunate as generations of Americans that part of that identity was brand identification. Most of our corporations products were well known, and the quality and integrity that was assigned with them. But we had, for the first time though, a generation of children growing up that will be strongly influenced by non-American brands. And we see that impact in the American culture and society every day. And so my question is for an established company that has a strong branded identification, is it easy to revamp that brand identity or just start a new company to target these new audiences and populations?
That is a very interesting question, and I actually love looking into companies as they do this. It depends on the company. Some companies are very successful and they truly understand the nuances of going into a completely separate culture. And then there's other companies that don't get it. I'm sure everybody here is familiar with Disney. When Disney first opened in Europe, in France, okay, it was a complete flop. Who would think Disney World would flop? They created a park over there identical to what Americans want, not Europeans. They applied all the concepts that appeal to Americans, an American standard of vacationing, not Europeans. They had to close the park to revamp the entire thing, do the research, and bring in the correct local talent before they could reopen and actually make that a success. And because of everything they went through, it took them years to finally turn a profit because they screwed up so bad in the first place. There's other companies, I'm drawing a blank on which one it is, when they tried going overseas, they didn't do the research of the translation of the name. What's that?
Chevy Nova.
Yeah, Chevy Nova's one of them, but it was actually a company name that they did not do the translation.
What was it, Coca-Cola? Like the wax tadpole?
There were a couple of them, but you know, it's interesting. They need to do appropriate research up front. And you can also see it on more of a local level when companies try to go after specific demographics. When they target specific people, whether it be Asians or African Americans or Chinese, the first inclination that companies often gravitate to is, oh, we'll just change the picture of this woman. We'll make her Asian and it'll work. No, won't. The ad most likely didn't work for the white man. What makes you think it's gonna work for the Asian? You have to do the demographics and you have to understand what appeals to them and why things appeal to them. Just because they're Asian, when they're living in America, that adds another layer of complexity to it because you're not applying the same demographics to what you would in the Asian countries. As Americans, they have American standards. They have a different look, they do have some different beliefs, and they have different things that appeal to them. So it's about understanding your demographics. So it happens locally, but it also happens on a larger scale when you go globally. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. No, I mean, we're sitting in a facility where it's Starbucks.
Yep.
In their transition to the East Coast.
Oh, yeah.
Marketers I knew when they went into New York. 6:15 in the morning, New Yorkers don't particularly care about smiley, greedy.
That's right. They want their coffee. I was at that Starbucks when it opened that first week, and it was interesting. I grew up just outside of New York, so I consider myself a New York girl. And I walked in, and I'd heard about Starbucks, and I'd heard everything as exciting, the best coffee, and at that time it was. It was the best thing you could buy and fairly readily available. It was a highly desirable thing. And when I would go to New York growing up, I would be able to have the pleasure of sitting back and watching New Yorkers. And I love that. There is nothing more energizing than watching the New York lifestyle just go boom. They don't care care about smiling. Give me my coffee, let me go. Starbucks has had more than just that. A lot of times they try to promote themselves as a local company when they go in, but the brand is not local. They've created themselves to be a commodity that anyone and everyone can have access to. If anyone and everyone can have it, is it a local brand?